Hi guys, Kirk Williamson, the old fat photographer, and welcome to Throwback Thursday. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about this image behind me on the screen, which is the back shore of Gloucester, and it's an image that means an awful lot to me. So this image here is something that I had been wanting to do for quite a while. A friend and I had gone up to New Hampshire to photograph fall leaves and waterfalls up in Wilton, New Hampshire, and we came back with some great images, but saying, you know, we really could do the slow water thing here on Cape Ann. And it was in October, and we had just experienced kind of a fairly large storm, and it was high tide, and we thought maybe, you know, it's starting to go out, maybe we can find something over on the back shore. So what we did was we headed out and we found a great spot, and the water was just, it had filled up this incredible pool full of water and was flowing beautifully out of there. So it lent itself to a 10-stop filter, and unfortunately it was a Tiffen 10-stop filter, which is kind of green in cast after you get all said and done. So I had to do a lot of monkeying with it afterwards to get it out of the green mode and into the way I wanted it. But really the story is here that I was using a Sony A6300, nice small camera. No, actually, excuse me, I'm wrong. It was a Sony NEX-7, NEX-7, and the 10-18 lens that I had just purchased a month or so before that, and I was really interested in seeing how this whole system worked out, and I eventually ended up going to Fuji instead. But I really kind of liked it. It was nice and easy to use and move around. I didn't have any problem moving around with a small camera with the filter setup on it. Anyway, that being said, this image here really is interesting. It's a 15-second exposure at, I think it's f/18, and the focal length is 17 millimeters instead of really wide open not wide open, but you know what I mean, all the way to the end at 15. And it's quite sharp all the way through, and I think you'll like it. I'm going to explain a little bit about how I got to the final image here in Lightroom right now. Taken on the back shore of Gloucester, and it was, see if I can tell you when it was. Gee, I wonder when you shot this. Okay. This was shot on October 30th, 2017. And I must say, this is one of my favorite images of all time. Now, the biggest problem with this image is that I used Tiffen filters. This is the 10-stop filter I used on this, and you can see how green it is. My God, is it green. So, how do we go in and change this? Well, I tried a bunch of different things before I knew much about using these particular filters. I tried auto tone. I tried my exposure. I tried white balance to daylight. I tried everything. I tried tint. And it started coming back a little bit when I added the tint to it. And quite honestly, I know there's other methods of doing this, but this was the first method that I tried to do this, and it actually worked pretty good. Next thing I did was I cropped it the way I wanted it, and then I started adding brush strokes. Well, you know, back in 2017, brush strokes, I wasn't really sure exactly what I was going to do, but on this 15-second exposure at f/18 17 millimeter, I tried a bunch of different things, and I'm not sure I even know where this brush stroke is, but it's been heavily worked on. I updated the shadows adjustment. You can see some of these things going on. The color temperature, I adjusted it a little bit. I updated the highlights right in here. You can see that. See all this? I brought that up. I updated the shadows adjustment to try and bring up some of the shadows. And then I did a lot more brushstroke stuff. Started working on some of the areas inside this image, like in here to get some of this shadow detail back, and it required a lot of work, I have to say. But I think what I removed some spot and I did a bunch of different things but I eventually liked everything that I came up with, and I especially like the way that this the lines lead into this and out of it, and they go up through the rocks like this. See how this is going up through here like this? It's just so smooth. And over in here we got Thatcher Island with the twin lights. I did some more adjustments with saturation, and of course I then deleted it. But and I've played with this a bunch of different times since I decided to use it here. But I really love this image. It's got a lot going on for it. See if this comes up any more than I wanted it to. Come on. That's Lightroom Mobile. I did some sharpening. But the final export I did just recently for a conference, the New England Camera Club Council conference that I was at. This was the final adjustment that I did for this. And as you can see, if we got it here, we take a look at all of these things. Now, if I adjusted this right here, it doesn't do what I really want to do with it. I just left it as Adobe standard. But you can see all these adjustments in here. You know what I'm going to try and do? I'm going to try and double click on my whites, double click on my blacks, set my white and black point, and hopefully when I hit the J key I won't see anything when I do it. There's a little bit over here, but that's acceptable, I think, for having my shadows blown out. But I can adjust that a little bit just by doing that. That looks pretty cool. Now, the interesting thing about this image is that all of this on the right hand side over here is all foam. This is all sea foam. This was after a huge storm that came through. Ooh, a little bit of white clipping too. Oh, I didn't even see that. Come on. Oh. Here we go. So anyway, this was after a huge storm, and this area just filled up with water. It floated right through. It almost looks like snow and all sorts of other things going on. So I hope you liked this edition of Throwback Thursday. It's really one of my most iconic images that I've really enjoyed taking over the last few years. And I encourage you, and hopefully you will subscribe to this channel and hopefully get it growing and do some more of these and some more outside. Although it's summertime here in New England and really there's not much going on, although we have an interesting moonrise tonight at about 8:23 or so, 8:21. So anyway, we got some interesting things going on, and hopefully you'll subscribe to this channel and get your notifications somewhere on the bottom of this frame, up there or over there. I don't know where it is. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this content, and I'll keep doing it and try to make it better every time I do it. Talk to you later. No, actually, see you next week. Bye.